Makes you feel good. They thank you, for your service and that,
It wasn't all for nothing.
No, it wasn't all for nothing. That's right. It was good.
The Korean War has been called the Forgotten War. The conflict began just 5 years after the end of World War II. And somewhere in the timeline of history, the Korean War became lost between Hitler's defeat in Vietnam. More than 50,000 Americans died. More than 7,000 are still missing in action. Even now, almost 70 years after that conflict began, North Korea remains a threat to South Korea and to the U.S. We caught up with several Korean War veterans at the memorial in D.C. and found to this day, many of them are still asking why. Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher is accustomed to crowds. This one isn't for him. George Fisher served in the Air Force during the Korean War.
I was initially a fighter pilot. Then I went over to become a bomber pilot in a B-47. Like everybody else around me, we were ready to go.
Well, it was a fear, because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Charles Marking joined the Navy in 1951, just 6 years after World War II. It wasn't long before he found himself on a tank landing ship headed to Korea.
You could hear gunfire. At nighttime, we'd see the flashes of the guns off on the beach. And it was frightening at times, but when you're there, you got to make the best of it.
Prisoners are being marched to the rear.
The U.S. joined South Korea to fight the North and China, a gruesome war costing more than 50,000 American lives. More than 7,000 are still missing in action.
Yeah.
What was it like when you came back from Korea?
Well, really didn't have no welcoming. I just come back, got off the ship, and went home. There was nobody cheering you on and thanking you or anything like that. Like World War II, I can remember that. I was about 13 years old or something like that, and I can remember they had big receptions for the guys that come back, and up in New York they filled paper all over, all kinds of stuff like that, But no, Korean, they didn't do nothing.
Now, 69 years later, the conflict is referred to as the Forgotten War, and the stalemate at the 38th parallel continues.
It didn't feel like we should be there. It was a conflict between North and the South, and why should we send up all these people over and lose people, personnel, and just for their conflict, That's the way it was, They wouldn't listen to me.
Didn't really have a choice in the matter anyway,
No,
right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Welcome.
George Fisher has the same questions.
Yeah, it makes me just feel sorrowful. The biggest thing is sorrowful. Why did we have to do that? Why did that war initiated? I had 3 or 4 close friends get killed in that war. And it's just, why do we waste all our time and men and women on these wars? It's just such a shame. When you walk around this place here, it's kind of a sacred ground. That there's several 100,000 people dead for our country around here. And, I'm still alive. And sometimes you wonder, why am I still alive?
And while it may be known as the Forgotten War,
thank you, sir,
the men and women who served are not.
When we got off the plane here, the welcomer that was in there, that place was crowded, and cheering you on and all
What
that,
did you think of that? What did you think of that? Oh,
It touched me.
I bet it did. Thank you, sir, for your service.
Makes you feel good. They thank you, for your service and that,
It wasn't all for nothing.
No, it wasn't all for nothing. That's right. It was good.
Now, during that conversation with George Fisher, he told us about a good friend named Joe who lost his life in a training exercise. His death had an impact on George, leaving him with that question, why him and not me? You can hear more of his story right now on the new WHAS 11 app. Just go to the section Operation Gratitude, and that is where you will find all of our coverage from the honor flight and more information on events later this week as we commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day this Thursday, June 6th.